It is a wonderful spectacle as a sporting event, and we hope the match lives up to the promise. One key element is that Wolves will tell you they have not had a harder game all season than playing Watford at home. Watford beat them 2-0, but that was back in October. What will April bring? What will Wembley bring? Remember, Wolves in white. Lovely conditions for playing. And we're underway in the second semi-final. Manchester City have done their business here yesterday. The sides separated by just one Premier League point, and have both been part of a very good season in the domestic competition, and looking for a very early start with Johnny trying to curl that one in. And if that's a flavour of what's to come, we won't be disappointed.
Well, it's good link-up play between the two front players. Jimenez to start with, gets it into Jota. And this is really good play from Johnny. That's what they expect from him, the wing-back, getting forward, not that far away. He knows exactly what he's trying to do here. Femania should get a lot tighter than he did.
Both have had good weeks, midweek games to build up for this. Of course, Wolves beating Manchester United again, knocked them out of the FA Cup. And Watford with a splendid second half to sink Fulham. They were relegated with that 4-1 defeat at Vicarage Road.
It's a strange decision, I think, from Javi Grazie to go with a midfield diamond, because there's lots of space, so there's going to be a lot of space for the two wing-backs of Wolves to get forward.
Michael Oliver is the referee. There was talk that Aurelio Gomez would lose out to the first choice, Ben Foster. I spoke to Ben before the game. He said he's absolutely happier that Gomez is playing than he would be if he was picked himself, and that's not because he doesn't want to play, but he believes it's the right thing to do. The attacking point of the diamond for Watford is Roberto Pereira. Will Hughes, corner.
Pereira is a good player, clever round the box. Will Hughes, likewise, very much a left-footed player. Hasn't got great pace. Playing on the right-hand side of that diamond, you allow the fullback to get beyond him, and he'll bend balls into the box for the likes of Troy Deeney.
Well, this is going to be bent in. One assumes left-footed, although the short corner is on. They can go 2 against 1 here should they choose to do so. But many a manager would say, look, put the first one on the goalkeeper and see what happens. That goalkeeper is John Ruddy, who's played here before in his Norwich City days. And there's the bending ball by Holebas. There's Ruddy going for it and going for it well. Wolves don't push out too much, but they don't need to, and Ruddy takes charge again. A good start for him.
Well, you said put the first set play right on top of the goalkeeper. That's exactly what they did, and he got a good punch on it, and then a good catch on the second one.
The two up front on both sides are in good form. Jimenez, and more recently Jota, who's probably come alive since the middle of the season, really December. He started to get goals in the first team, and he's got himself into Portugal's international squad as well. Here is the Spaniard Johnny, and Jota staying on his feet. And Michael Oliver's given a free kick on the edge. Will Hughes disputes it, but Jota caused it.
And he gave it for the first challenge here. But again, Johnny finding a bit of space, plays the ball in. That's the foul that was given, just unbalanced him. It was Mariappa who came out, threw himself at the ball. Just unbalanced Jota. I think that's good refereeing. He waited to see if there was an advantage.
Well, Gomez, very much at the veteran stage of his career, trying to make sure the wall is set properly, also wanting to make sure that he gets some sort of sight of this. João Moutinho, he's played at Wembley before for Portugal. And here he goes. Ooh, and Gomez watched, maybe hoped, and his hopes were answered.
Well, Moutinho played in midfield for Portugal in a recent game against Ukraine with Neves. One player's got a great, powerful shot. Moutinho's more creative with his right boot. On that occasion, he just couldn't get it down in time.
Sixth time they've been paired together in the FA Cup. Wolves winning through in 4 of the previous 5, including an extraordinary 10-0 win over Watford. But that was back in 1912, a few weeks before the Titanic set sail. Gerald Deulofeu sitting there behind Ben Foster. Not, I don't think, impressed with the selection. He's been in the team recently, got a hat-trick not that long ago in the Premier League away to Cardiff. But he didn't play with any great gusto in the midweek game against Fulham. And the feeling in the Watford camp, I think, is that that cost him his place at Wembley.
Well, he can be an inconsistent player, Deulofeu. He's got great pace. Doesn't always make the right runs. Hughes winning the foul.
The feeling is also, Stuart, that he will come on in the point of the diamond that's occupied at the moment by the not 100% fit Pereira. Not too many touches so far for the ebullient Deeney. And the Wolverhampton-born Andre Gray, his Deeney strike partner today, was on Wolves' books as a schoolboy, was great. It's one for Deeney to come in from behind to try and get to. Back in by Femenia. Drops for Capoue. Made a big contribution to this cup run, Etienne Capoue. Deeney. The decision is a corner. Troy Deeney comes from the Midlands, not too far away from Wolverhampton, so it is very much that part of the country that Javi Gracia's gone against the team from the Black Country.
He's certainly done a good job, hasn't he, Javi Gracia?
He's a very calm man, and that, I think when you're given the Watford job, it helps to be calm, because it doesn't usually last very long, but he's outstripped all the other Watford managers in terms of Premier League games in charge. Usually been one season, wonders might be overstretching it, one season employed. And here's Jimenez, just ran off Hughes, Watford's way. And now Gray trying to get away, and he's quick and direct, but it didn't fall for him then.
It is great to see 2 up front for both sides. Saiz took a whack on one of those last crosses that came in. Bolly's going to play on the left-hand side, but they're going to be up against 2 centre-forwards. One who's good in the air, Troy Deeney, the other one, Gray, who loves to run in behind.
And here is the combination shaping up now, just as you say, Stuart. But Gray was offside. Watford beat non-league opposition in Woking in the 3rd round, and Premier League opposition in Newcastle in the 4th and the 6th, with Newcastle and Crystal Palace in between a win at Queen's Park Rangers. They're all pretty narrow successes, but they've only conceded the 1 goal along the way. Hughes. Pereira. Strong tackle by Saiz right under the nose of the referee. And Michael Oliver Some referees would say, well, it's a semi-final, I'll let one or two go, but the referee thought that this was a bit sinister.
Yeah, he went to ground fairly early here. Dives into the challenge. He probably doesn't catch Pereira that much, but Pereira has to jump out the way of the challenge. He's got a nosebleed as well. That was the challenge that he made when the ball came into the box the last time. He's now going to be a man under pressure, because if you are playing on the right-hand side of a back three, at times you're going to have to go out into wide areas, defend those sort of wide areas where Hollybass may get forward and try and get crosses in. Kure at times may drift out there.
Yeah, some of the wider defenders in a back three are converted fullbacks and are happy to do it. But I'm not sure that these two are particularly gifted in that way.
That's why, by playing with a diamond in midfield, Watford may be playing into the hands of Wolves slightly.
The blood shirt is required, or at this level, usually a replacement shirt with the right number on, we'll see. The game will restart before Saiz can come back on, so Watford with a man advantage here, and the flag has gone up. Femenia, the cleverly worked one that was obviously designed to play against a full complement of defenders.
Yeah, they just worked it so Femenia could get round the back here. He was certainly onside, but the ball just went out of play. Tight decision.
So the right decision.
And the right decision, yep.
Johnny. Now, Xiao Willy Bolly. Jota. Made a change in the season. Sure, didn't Wolves from 3-4-3 in this system to 3-5-2. Dendoncker got in the team.
Yep.
And it did allow them, of course, to play Jota as a striker with Jimenez, who's had a terrific season from start to where we are now.
Yeah, I think they were worried that they were getting outplayed in central midfield. Now they've got that extra player in there, and it does allow them to play with two up front who have been good at combining with each other. There was a chance for Jota to get hold of it.
Taken from him by Mariappa, a long-serving Watford player, his second spell at the club. And Nuno, right, he's had very good resources financially to build this team, but he has built it splendidly to get them up from the Championship to be very competitive in the Premier League, and here they are in an FA Cup semi-final.
And it's good to see a manager that's willing to play virtually the same team week in, week out, no matter what the opposition is. Hasn't rested too many players. That's given them that understanding of the role in the team, formation, what their jobs are, both with and without the ball.
Yeah, especially without the ball. I think they're one of the better teams in that respect. They catch the eye with a lot of their play when they do have possession. And they are tough to get the better of. Watford certainly were able to do that back in October, and they do meet again. Their Premier League fixture down here, not far from Wembley, at Vicarage Road, is scheduled for later this month.
Foul on Cathcart as he was trying to come out with the ball.
Watford have just settled slightly the better. Whatever rhythm they're trying to play to. Ferocious on the drums. Back goes Bolly, knowing that Deeney will pull one side or the other to try and give an angle from those kind of set-piece deliveries. Tee it up for his teammates.
It's important that both sides get around the knockdown. He might not win them cleanly, but he stops the defender winning them, getting any distance on his headers. had that tremendous partnership, didn't he, with Igalo for a season, Troy Deeney, when they really were a great attacking combination.
Well, he's been working hard on his game. He lost weight again. He does have spells where piles on at least a pound or two, but you've got the energetic Deulofeu in the midfield behind him. He's very much the spokesman for the club. Cliche really to call him Mr. Watford, but that's what he seems to most. Jota. One back by Hughes. Trying to get Matt Doherty further up the pitch, as Johnny has done a couple of times. Coutinho just looking away, thinking, where were you with the pass?
Does look as though there's more space out on the left-hand side for Wolves when they get possession. Bolly's been able to get on the ball, so too Johnny.
Forward by Saiz. Jimenez trying to flick it on. Hughes trying to get it down. He's helped by the referee's whistle. It's another Watford free kick. Just as if to say, Wolves in that part of the picture finding it difficult to get their own period of control. Another chance for Watford to knock it long. It's with Cathcart who goes in short. Femenia. Capu. Kiko Femenia again. Blocked by Coutinho, as part of Portugal's European Championship winning squad. Moving on for 3 years ago now. And it is a lot of, I suppose, Portuguese connections that have helped Wolves build the side of this stature.
But in that recent game against the Ukraine, they had more representatives than any other team in the Portuguese side. 3 in the side, 1 on the substitutes bench.
Yeah, it would of course been Rui Patricio in goal, who's not involved. Will Norris is the substitute, if required for Ruddy. Here's Ruben Neves, who would have been in that Portugal team. Johnny, who is Spanish, has also stepped up into international football this season. Looking for Jimenez in the middle. Jota went to the near post, retrieved by Doherty. Jimenez again. It's a bit too slippery on the turn for Deulofeu.
It's a clever play, isn't it? Jimenez threatens to cross it, drags it back, gets the right angle on his drag back. Deulofeu brings him down. And it was good play again from Johnny down the left-hand side to get that cross in the first place. Volley will be a target, just coming round the back. Watford look as though they're going to zonal mark here. To a certain degree anyway, now they're starting to pick up.
But no one's directly picked up. Well, he's certainly not shirt tight, as the expression goes. Cathcart is close to him. And the free kick evades him. Gray trying to carry it out. When Watford lost their only FA Cup final to Everton in '84, it was Andy Gray who was the Everton star in those days and scored in a 2-0 Everton win.
Many said it was a foul. I'm sure Andy didn't.
No. And he seemed to head it. Was it in the grasp of the goalkeeper Steve Sherwood or not? You wear your colours and you have your point of view, really. Goal was given. Johnny, good enough. In danger of conceding a corner, but it's safely, from Wolves' point of view, a goal kick.
Has been reprimanded once this season, hasn't he? For running on the field when a goal was scored. Nuno Espirito Santo.
They are supposed to stay in their technical areas. The nominated members of the management team, those on the official team sheet. The manager, assistant manager, maybe another coach as well. Physio, of course, as well as the nominated substitutes. Pretty strict.
It's been a fairly scrappy start so far. Both sides going long at times.
It's gone out.
Switch is going to be on again here to Johnny.
Just had to check back. Femenia came out with space in behind him. Jota couldn't get the cross in. Wolves win it back in Watford territory.
That's when Gray has a problem, when he's got his back to goal and he's got to try and link up the play. Somebody who loves to run in behind, he's going to work off the flicks from Deeney. When he has the ball into his feet, Wolves are trying to nick the ball off it, and they've done it 2 or 3 times now.
Donker can't get it through. There's a lot of experience of big games in the Wolves ranks. They're going to need it at the moment as Femenia comes forward. Hughes is a good pass to the ball from Watford's midfield. And Femenia by Pereira wants it back again. Current Argentine international. He was felled, but Michael Oliver didn't. Femenia gets it again. Pereira's back on his feet, but the ball's out of play.
That's where Pereira wants to get on the ball, in and around the box. He can play little 1-2s, he can jink past his opponent. Maybe a little bit unlucky here, holds off the challenge there. Coutinho, the player that goes to ground.
But the medics have done well to get him out there, Roberto Pereira. A lot of pain through the week, hasn't taken part in much of the preparations for this game. He was desperate to play it. To be fair, Javi Gracia, who is pretty keen to use it.
Well, they've got some powerful players, they've got players that are good in the air. He's the one that just provides that little bit of something different, Pereira.
On the ball again, you mentioned it, Stuart, that was from Conor Cody this time. Jimenez. Switch it to Johnny again. Now Jota. Not too many options for him, not clear-cut ones. There may be for Watford on the counter-attack here. Doucouré. Gray had gone infield, and he was on the right-hand side when Doucouré first looked. A lot of respect between the two clubs, the two camps, the two managers. We don't get so much of the mind games these days. It's always very polite, the pre-match press conferences, or invariably so, when they're talking about the opposition.
Well, because Watford are playing with a diamond and Wolves have got those 3 central midfield players, it's very tight in there. Really been able to get hold of the ball, make things happen. Now there's a chance for Pereira.
He's moving well. Olivas. Pereira again. Deeney and Gray waiting in the middle. And it's not only going to be a free kick, it'll be a booking as well for Ruben Neves. It was outgunned here.
Here's Pereira again. This is what he can do. Great in possession, little nutmeg. He's almost embarrassed, Neves. That's why he grabs hold of Pereira. He would then be racing into the box. Thought he'd make the foul outside the box.
just another passage of play that's been rather typical of what we've seen. Watford looking the more threatening, creating a number of set-piece situations. This looks like maybe the most likely one so far.
Just looking at the way they're set up, I don't think they can do it, but the cut back to Hughes was looking on for a while.
There it is. Hughes has scored a wonderful volley against Fulham on Tuesday. Was somewhat less than wonderful with that attempt.
Well, originally they were going to roll it to him, but Coutinho had blocked that off, so then he went round the back. And he was on for a long time. Wolves didn't pick him up at all.
It's Will Hughes who got the first goal of their FA Cup run back in January at Woking. Forward for Cathcart. Capoue helping him out. Now Femenier. Towards Deeney, is back-pedalling. Drops for Pereira. Gray to get it back. Deeney coming onto it. Kind of situation where his eyes light up.
Again, Pereira got to the knockdown, tried to play a little 1-2, and when it bounces back out to Deeney, he's trying to wrap his foot around this. There's the set play again. He knew it was coming, he was waiting, he was looking disinterested. He had a lot of time to judge this, but it just bounces in front of him, tries to catch it on the hard volley, slices it horribly, almost going behind him in the end.
Unusual start to Will Hughes' career, that he stayed at school. He was doing his A-levels when he was playing for Derby County's first team. I remember doing a match at the start of the season. I said, "Are you nervous at the start of the season?" "I'm waiting for my exam results." He said, "Far more nervous about that."
Did he get them? Well, did he get what he wanted?
I would think so. He's a very intelligent young man.
Comes the switch of play from Connor Cody. That's what he can do so well. Here's
Jimenez roving wide. That ball again might catch Watford out. It wasn't towards Johnny that time, but Diego Jota. So we're seeing Watford maybe collectively doing slightly better, but Wolves you have that feeling that Jimenez and Jota have done so well in recent games, in recent months, that they might just have a sharper cutting edge if they can fashion the right kind of chance.
Well, they've put in some very good counter-attacking performances this season. Both have got that little bit of pace to run in behind. Both are decent at holding it up as well.
Capoue's header.
Both their FA Cup games, first against Liverpool, we saw Jimenez break forward on a counter and score, and then against Manchester United we saw Jota do exactly the same.
It's gone out for a Watford throw. The Wolves have done very well, of course, starting with Liverpool, who perhaps didn't put the FA Cup top of their priorities, but that's still taking nothing away from that third round win at Molineux for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Then they had more problems with lower league Shrewsbury. Held to a replay and in the end just got through in that replay. They went to Bristol City of the second tier and won by the only goal of the game to 0 to set up the confrontation with Manchester United. They were good value for victory in the quarter-final.
Frustrated Troy Deeney with the quality of ball that's been played towards him. He wanted that driven in rather than lofted up in the air.
Wolves, incidentally, taking into account, of course, the old ground as well, have won their last 6 games on the Wembley site. I mean, 2 FA Cups, 2 League Cup successes, Football League trophy success when they were in the lower divisions, and the much more recent win here against Spurs in the Premier League. Hasn't been such a prosperous patch for Watford Football Club. Here's Mariappa. Femenia. Half an hour gone, the second semi-final, and we're nowhere near knowing who's going to play Manchester City.
Capoue going in between his two centre-halves to try and start things off. Not sure that's where he's best suited, Capoue. He's a box-to-box player. I've seen him score goals before. He's an all-round midfield player.
Was misjudged by Cody. Very nearly in behind Wolves then. They're still on the attack, and it's touched over in the end by an onside Andre Gray.
I think he's got to go with his head here. When that ball's delivered into the box, if he throws himself at it, it's really good. He stays onside. They start to come up. Stays onside. He's not picked up. And when the ball's played, if he dives at this with his head, I think he scores. Really good ball played in by Troy Deeney, bending it in. Gets in front of Ruddy.
Jota. Marauding Doherty, a double deflection, and then it's out for a Wolves throw.
I haven't really seen enough of Doherty down that right-hand side.
Watford lucky to get it back. But not very far by Holibas. And Pereira just held up unfairly. Now they'll be ruining that chance that Andre Gray couldn't take. Would have been a feather in the cap of the manager. Put Gray in before Deulofeu, and if he got the opening goal.
Well, he did well to find the space to stay onside. He's looking across the line.
A lot of Andre Gray's family support Wolves. A bit torn today. Mariappa. Femenia. Switch play this time for Watford. Out to Holibas from Capoue. Deeney, Deulofeu with that acceleration that's made him a hotter property in the English game than he was when he arrived.
That was a good bit of football by Watford. Started one side of the field, they switched it out to that left-hand side. Clever little ball played into the front player. Deeney rolling it round the side for Deulofeu.
It's up towards Deeney again.
See, he doesn't win it, but the centre-half doesn't seem to win it either. So players running beyond that challenge could be the ones to profit.
Deulofeu was in that kind of area. It's well won by Mariappa. The craftsman, who is João Moutinho. This is better from Wolves. The attempted penetrating pass from Neves.
It was the right pass, he just put too much weight on it. It was Jota that was in. Just needs to roll it in between the two defenders with the outside of his right boot.
Just over 10 minutes to go to half-time, and not too much work for the two second-string keepers. Have been the FA Cup first string keepers for their respective clubs. Wally. Nicely done. Johnny going infield. Jota ahead of it. Dendoncker has the shot. Work now for Aurelio Gomez. From Dendoncker, a pretty decent drive. And an acrobatic save.
Well, almost the first time we've mentioned Dendoncker. Found that bit of space, good play from Johnny again. I think he strikes this well. It may have just taken a slight deflection as well as it goes towards goal. Starts to dip, just comes off the head of Cathcart. That's a good save from Gomez. That would have made slightly more difficult the fact that it came off Cathcart's head.
Cathcart now with the job of marking a Bolly. Set up slightly differently, Wolves this time. Take a set piece to open up the second semi-final. One from the training ground, and it's worked to absolute perfection as Matt Doherty heads Wolverhampton Wanderers into the lead at Wembley. No wonder they're absolutely proud on the bench, and they're loud at that end of the stadium.
Well, I'm not quite sure what they were looking for to start with. I think it was to get it back to Moutinho, but the cross came in left-footed. And it's a good cross as well, and he just gets in front of his marker to Toure, and it's an easy header for him. Really well worked in the end. Times his run, the Toure goes to sleep. He's got to be marking the other side. No chance for Gomez, and an easy finish for Doherty.
Well, he was the star of the 2 games against Shrewsbury, but this is the semi-final. And he gets his 4th FA Cup goal of this run. We do have VAR, which would have been checking out what you were looking for, Stuart, to make sure that he'd been onside, on the move, which he clearly was. And it's Watford 0, Wolves 1 at Wembley. And here's Ruben Neves. The options are to the left. The dangerous Jimenez. Watford desperate to hold him up, and he squeezes it back to where it ran off Pereira. Fortunately for him, Mariappa stepped in.
Well, they're just going to calm themselves down here, Watford.
Says for the header. But Matt Doherty has been at Wolves a long time. He actually played in the Premier League the last stint that they had. Only a couple of games. He's fitted in to the new Wolves, if we can call them that.
He's had to adapt as well to become a right wing-back under the new coaching system. And he's done it very well. Seen him break forward down the right-hand side there. He showed his prowess in the box. Good run from him. The timing was excellent. The Toure will be very disappointed that he allowed him to run across the front of him.
Well, he's stepping in. Wolves with a real spring in their step now. Jota. Still going. Still going. Oh, almost one of the great goals at the new Wembley.
Well, that's what we were talking about. His counter-attacking ability. Great pace. He's got the awareness, the control as well. Drifts past Capoue. Goes back inside the next challenge of Mariappa. And even goes inside Cathcart. And he's trying to wrap his foot round it and bend it into the corner. Doesn't get the bend he was looking for. It's been a good few minutes for Wolves and their manager, Nuno Santo.
Not for him. Or them. special day out for the supporters of both these clubs. And the Wolves have men back here. They're going to need them. As it dropped where Deeney had the chance to show his power. Here's a corner.
That's exactly where Troy Deeney wants to receive the ball, with his back to goal, in the box, trying to roll the defender. Saïs, I think, is the player that defends it well in the end. Saïs is tight and gets the block in.
Well, a clever corner routine. Open up Watford. Can Watford do the same? Something from their training ground. Get level before half-time, and it'll reach Ruddy untouched for the relief of the goalkeeper. Has played once for England, John Ruddy, a few years ago now.
Well, he probably made the save of the FA Cup this season, didn't he? Against Liverpool.
Yes, a fingertip touch onto the frame of the goal. Neves, and Jimenez is offside. Just taking a chance. I think VAR would have been a second line of defence for having Grassi if the assistant hadn't flagged straight away.
I wonder if he's thinking about changing the system at half-time. Here's the goal again, beautifully whipped in, goes beyond volley. Doherty had got away from his marker, couldn't really miss once he got his head on it.
The skill is getting there, isn't it? And that comes from many hours of practice. And here come Wolves again. Jimenez running at Watford, the Mexican.
Good recovery run. Olivas got himself into a good position there.
He's nearly 35, and he's still got all his athleticism. Raul Jimenez was on loan. Now signed for the next 4 years for Wolves, so a lot about the present for them. Of course, this is a thrilling end to their first season back in the top flight for a while, but the future looks bright. That's something that you couldn't always say about Wolverhampton Wanderers, who not that long ago, maybe a generation ago, could have gone out of business. They dropped to the 4th tier of English football.
Really developing Molineux, they caused themselves a lot of problems, didn't they? Had only one stand built for a long period of time. Mud banks behind a couple of the goals for a while.
Coming here. Reasonably plain sailing for Watford to reach this semi-final. Now they have got to dig in. Mariappa.
There's the ball into feet again to Andre Gray, and he doesn't deal with it.
And there is a problem. He loves running in behind, but Wolves aren't giving him the space to do that. Back three are getting pretty deep, because they know it doesn't really matter too much from Cody up to Jimenez, because Jimenez and Jota can play on their own.
I mean, that last counter-attack when Jota ran 60, 70 yards with the ball, he did it at pace, but he did it with such composure as well. Great understanding where the space was.
Here's Pereira. Hughes. Just out to João Moutinho. By Mariappa. It's the first half scoreline, which may not reflect the territorial spread of the game but it does reflect the sense we've had, Stuart, that Wolves carried a greater threat.
Yeah, Watford have had more possession, they've had the territorial advantage, but as you said, Wolves have looked the more threatening side when they have got it into the top third of the field.
Here's a chance for Felton here to get the cross in, and Deeney turns away in disappointment. Doherty, the goal scorer, has got to make sure it's not coming back in again from the opposite flank. Been able to do that to the consternation of Holibas.
I would still say, though, that Watford had a golden opportunity when that ball was bent into Andre Gray. If he goes with his head, he has to score. I'm not sure why he went with his foot.
Andre Mariner holds up the board. 2 added minutes, which we're into now. Feminier. I'm sure we'll see Deulofeu, but question of when. And here is the chance for Gray. Brilliantly set up by Deeney. The top two for Watford in tandem there, and Wolves didn't have an answer till the very end.
Ball played in, Hughes. There's a little header back. His first touch is okay, but he slices his shot, and it's Connor Cody that gets the block in. That's a front two playing at their very best. That's what you want if you're going to play with a front two. Deeney winning the ball, setting up his fellow centre forward, but he doesn't make the perfect connection, and good defending from Cody eventually.
Gareth Southgate, Steve Holland with him, viewing the occasion, and of course the English players on view. Outswinger, Doucouré leaves it, because Hughes, who wants to get it onto his left foot. Now Doucouré, strong finish as Watford try and seek an equaliser before half-time. They've got another corner.
They just thought that Will Hughes could have bent that one in first time, got it into the danger area again.
I mean, a number of set pieces that Watford have had, corners and free kicks in threatening areas. Nuno Espirito Santo is hoping his team can see off, which will surely be the last one before half-time, and go in with a 1-0 lead.
Combination of zonal and man marking from Wolves.
By Holibas again, the goalkeeper's pinned. So that's the last act of the first half. And although Watford have, to some extent, called the tune, it's Wolverhampton Wanderers who hold the advantage. Matt Doherty, from a very cleverly arranged and manufactured set-piece routine, he threw his head at it. Andre Gray didn't throw his head at a chance, and had another one after the Doherty goal, which could have been the equaliser, but he did have an opportunity to put Watford in front. But at the break at Wembley, it's Watford 0, Wolves 1.
Certainly no change in personnel. I wonder if we get a change in tactics from Watford at the start of this second half.
Slight problem, a bit of deep heat maybe for Raul Jimenez. And we're underway. Second semi-final, remember. Manchester City already through the first. And if you're not totally au fait with the regulation of the competition, replays are a long-forgotten part of this round of the Cup. 20 years since the last one, and the FA decided that they should be settled on the day. The replay bowed out in real style, a famous win for Manchester United over Arsenal, and a famous Ryan Giggs goal. The last ever FA Cup semi-final goal, or semi-final replay goal, was an appropriate one, of brilliance and beauty. So it has to be settled here. We can have extra time, and then of course it would go to penalties. It was a big feeling, Stuart, before the game, given the proximity in the league table of these two sides, that extra time would be more of a probability than a possibility.
Still could be the case. There hasn't been a change of tactics for Watford, still playing with Pereira at the top of a diamond, so nothing for Nuno Espirito Santo to worry about so far in terms of he have to change anything himself?
It is Pereira who trying to get away, but gave the ball away, then gave the free kick away.
Yeah, he's at times been the most inspirational player, but he knew exactly what he was doing there. He's lucky not to get a yellow card for that. Pereira.
Size to Doherty. Nice take by João Moutinho. Wasn't a routine one. Here's Bolly. Deeney hoping to hustle a mistake out of Cody, and then Roddy. Saiz, and the flag has stayed down, and Jimenez gets away, gets the shot away too. Didn't catch Gomez out. That's what he can do. He's quick, he's direct, and he's not short of confidence.
Well, it was a great pass from Saiz. He's left foot, he's playing on the right-hand side of that back three, but he uses his left foot more than he does his right. Played the ball over the top.
Dendoncker had that shot that was deflected in the first half that brought a fine save out of Gomez. Doherty lets it run, thinking Jimenez might get there. Olivas had other ideas. Pereira. This might suit Watford, and it's hard to do deliberately, but let Watford come onto them, Wolves come onto them a little bit, so there might be more space for Gray to run in behind. Back three drops off again though as Femenia comes forward. Deeney can't keep it. So Watford get it back through the efforts of Hughes. Jota. It's a clever run forward by João Moutinho, but the pass didn't recognise that from Bolly.
That was certainly the pass. Moutinho saw the space to run into.
Hughes. Next goal, if we get one, would be absolutely vital. If Wolves get it, you feel that would be a place in the final for them, but if Watford get it, with Deeney and Gray about, there's still plenty of possibilities for that.
Starting to see
a turnaround.
Yeah, starting to see Nakure make more runs. Here's the ball over the top. He wasn't offside, he's onside. Good decision by the assistant. Mariappa was playing the onside. Now he's racing towards goal. Gets the ball stuck under his feet slightly, but still gets a good shot away. Capu, the holding midfield player, is the player getting back at him. Nice height for Gomez.
Gomez, of course, came to Watford from the Spurs, where he had a very decent career. Here's Jota for Jimenez! And actually, one or two of the Watford defenders sort of gave that up, expecting Gomez to get it. Jota suddenly saw the possibilities, challenging the goalkeeper, but the front two in tandem again. A point you made right at the start, Stuart, about both sides playing two up front, and the combinations at each end of the pitch would hold the key here. As Deeney tries to slide it into Pereira that time. Now Hughes in towards Gray. Deeney stopped by Bolly. Jota, a real nuisance. Penalised and he's kicked the ball away, which some days leads to a yellow card. Maybe Michael Oliver thinking he did hear the whistle with the noise, but I think he did.
Not sure he does too much wrong.
Hughes. Cathcart.
Just started to switch play that little bit quicker. Femenier got lots of time to deliver this ball into the box.
Wasn't the best delivery, asked a fair bit of Hughes. Doucouré made a run in between the central defenders. Might have been on for something that was a bit more elevated. They had two coming onto the same ball there, which was frustrating for Doucouré and Hughes, who got rather in each other's way.
Here's the ball played forward. They win the first one in the air. No surprise, Troy Deeney, Hughes and Doucouré both going for the same ball. But they are looking more threatening now. They're getting the ball out into the wide areas a bit quicker. They're going to get crosses into the box. Doucouré is playing further forward, almost playing as a third centre-forward at times when the ball goes into wide areas. But the threat will also be at the other end with the counter-attacks from Wolves. I think that's how the second half is going to be played. All the time it's 1-0.
Now by Saiz, he played in the World Cup for Morocco. Jimenez, Mexican World Cup player, of course. Dendoncker was in the Belgium squad, played against England. Grassi has never been to a final as a coach. Oh, and Deeney changed his mind.
He was going to strike it for goal. Then he saw that Gray may have been free and just tried to hold back his shot, pass it into Gray. But it wasn't a good pass. Just there, he was going to think about it. Overhit it.
And giving his usual round of interviews in the build-up to the game, Troy Deeney, Watford's player spokesman, which he admitted he didn't, as a kid, want to be a footballer, he wanted to be a fireman. There's a Wolves fire that he's got to try and put out here, because they lead the semi-final by 1-0. Matt Doherty close to half-time. A cleverly worked set-piece. Jota, who gives defenders not a moment's peace. Great Cathcart booked for this.
Does well. Jota gets his foot in the way, then he grabs hold of his arm, Cathcart, and then has another grab at him. The referee's absolutely right, but it's excellent centre-forward play from Jota up against the bigger Cathcart, making a real nuisance of himself. Once he got to the ball first, it was always going to be difficult for the centre-back.
Well, what are they going to use from their considerable repertoire this time, Wolves? Neves and Moutinho.
They've just taken a word of advice from the manager. Both of them looked round, the manager shouted something out, he's called the tune here.
Might be telling Neves to have a shot. That's what he does. Oh, and it was a bit of one thing and not quite the other either. It was a curving ball that might have found its way directly in, but it might have put it on ahead as a mirror image of the goal they've scored.
Oh, what a good delivery that is. He's trying to whip it with pace inside that far post.
It's by far the more demonstrative of the two managers.
Saiz was the player that was closest to it. It was the one negative for Wolves at the moment. Two of their players, in terms of Neves, has been booked, so has Saiz. Just under a bit of pressure, holding midfield player and a centre-half. They're going to have to make challenges at some point in the game.
Here's Pereira trying to avoid the challenges.
How often have we seen games changed by a team going down to 10 men?
Mania playing a part here. Noah Hughes, just understandably tense. And, the delicate touch is required. Watford press on again. They beat Wolves with a show of power at Molineux in October. Just feel they need a little bit more finesse in these circumstances. They've got a free kick.
Well, they're going for power by getting the ball into the box. They're using their powerful midfield player, Deulofeu, to get in there, and Troy Deeney. Then that's when they need a little bit of finesse, the composure right at the end of it. That hasn't been the case so far.
Deeney did score in the semi-final here 3 years ago when they were beaten 2-1 by Crystal Palace. Pereira to take the free kick. Watford have plenty of height. Plenty of height. Not, in the end, enough for Deeney to be able to guide it on target.
And he's so good at hanging in the air this time and judging the ball, the flight of the ball. Can't quite get above it. He's up against bigger players most of the time, but still wins those balls in the air, Troy Deeney.
Calling for more. I think whistling for more. Holebas.
Switcher play is on.
It's back to Mariappa. Pereira. To carve a pass that needed a good run. And got it. But from Andre Gray, quite sure what was in his mind then.
Good run from him. There was space in behind on this occasion. Makes the run in behind Saiz, but there's that lack of composure, that lack of finesse that Watford have shown throughout this game so far.
Scored in the fourth round and a crucial goal to beat Crystal Palace in the quarter-final. Jimenez. It's a lovely turn by Jimenez. Jota. Again, a constant source of trouble to Watford at the back. He's a young player too, 22. You do feel he's going to have a big influence for this club, and indeed, when he gets into the Portugal team. Got a big summer coming up, of course. They're hosting the new Nations League semi-finals and final.
Actually haven't had a good start to their European qualifying campaign. 2 draws at home. Now, are we going to see this man come onto the field? Not at the moment, we're not.
Well, it's the cry of shoot, shoot, shoot every time Ruben Neves gets within his range, which is probably further out than most players' range, but he didn't connect properly this time.
Slices off the outside of his boot.
Had a lot of the ball, Femenia.
The player that has to go out and challenge him at times is Moutinho. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that for the rest of the game. He's tucked in midfield, and when it gets spread, this time Johnny's going out to Femenia.
So Mariappa tries a different route, tosses it up for Deeney to fight for. And even if a defender gets there, it might drop Watford's way. Femenia again. And again. Well, he was drawn out of position trying to get the ball. He committed himself. He's back in position now as Holebas curls it in, and he needed to be to get a touch, but the danger hasn't passed for Wolves yet. Being challenged by crosses from left and right. Looking to counter-attack. And Jota is never shy of doing that. And Michael Oliver is reaching the yellow card again for Holebas, who had to take one for the team, as they say.
Brilliant from that man again. Moutinho does well on the edge of the box. He's still got loads, so he gets a bit of luck here. Comes back in his favour. Holebas is trying to get back at him. Gets across him, and there's only going to be one outcome. A foul and a yellow card.
And the rant from Nuno Espirito Santo was thinking if he gets the ball to Jimenez, then Wolves might have a bit of daylight. But Jota's, he's not a flashy person to look at. He looks very boyish. Look as though he would carry the threat in a game like this. And he obviously does. He's been outstanding again. In by Doherty. Looking for Jimenez, who might be able to get it down, and does! 2-0 to Wolves. And their main man, the man from Mexico, now the masked crusader. Looks like that crusade is going to take Wolves back here for the FA Cup final. But that is typical of what he's done in his first season in English football.
Magnificent. He's standing in an offside position. Gets himself back, I think, just onside. I think the boot of the defender was keeping him onside. Great first touch. Judged the flight of the ball and then the volley as well. Magnificent from a centre-forward. It's been instrumental in most of the good things that Wolves have done this season.
But it is going to VAR.
All depends whether that defender's foot was playing him onside. It's a tight one, a really tight one. Certainly no handball. It's not what they should be looking at. It's the offside.
The goal is given, and rightly so. And Wolves with that crucial second goal. And Watford have got half an hour now to try and sort this out, and had a sniff of a chance straight away.
But you also have to remember how they got down from one end of the field to the other. It was by Jota's run, winning the free kick, and from that free kick, that man there scores the goal.
But look where he's standing, Stuart. I noticed that at the start, because obviously you're not going to stay in there. And that little, when they changed the angle to move back.
And it was the defender's left boot that was just playing him onside. Femenia, but what technique. Judgment of the flight of the ball. Mariappa gets caught underneath it. Gets the other side of Femenia, and before Gomez can get there, it's the brilliant finish.
Well, it's the fourth round of the FA Cup that he scored in his first taste of the competition. What an impact he's made.
There you see that foot of the defender. Shows what a good decision it was by the assistant referee in the first place.
Going to be a call for Deulofeu now. That has the horse bolted.
I don't think it's going to be for Andre Gray. I think it's going to be for Will Hughes, who's actually been delivering a lot of the crosses into the box.
But it is a story of set pieces so far. Wonderful work on the training ground by Nuno and his coaching staff. There's another one, and Bolly's coming in, but that's claimed by Gomez. And I just wonder, Stuart, because Nuno, a former goalkeeper, whether he brings a different take to the set-piece routines as to what would trouble a goalkeeper most.
Different angle on the set plays. I think it's also about people mark very well from the first ball, but when it gets moved, they then lose their men.
Both goals from second balls, yeah. So it's Will Hughes off. Gerald Deulofeu on with a tall order. He's been playing through the middle, but he's also, of course, known as a right-sided player, right winger. And that's where he's been posted as a direct replacement for Hughes, but a very different type of player. Forward by Cathcart. Look from Dendoncker. Here is Jota again. He doesn't get it right this time. Doucouré. Deulofeu. Chance for a cross from Femenia. Wolves are aware of that. Force him back. Gray in the middle, Doucouré in the middle, Deeney in the middle.
a bit too slow from Watford. They've got to switch the play quicker. Looks as though Hollybass has almost gone to a left wing position. Cathcart's going to have to defend a big area on his left-hand side.
Coming here again. There's a chance for maybe delivery into the box. Deulofeu can't get it in, and there's a bit of an argy-bargy here with João Moutinho. Whether that's from today or a bit of previous. Johnny is a fellow Spaniard trying to calm Deulofeu down, and Michael Oliver saying, what's going on here? Where did that come from?
Just been told to wait by the VAR here. Just holding up the play.
As to whether there was an offence. It might be a red card. Had this yesterday with the Kyle Walker incident. It's no red card. Now here come Wolves again. Oh, Jimenez is just a little bit lax, and this time Jota couldn't be found. Hollybass into Doucouré. Cathcart. Plenty of possession for Watford, but not in dangerous areas. It's a bit more of what's required, really. Call it route one or what you will. Gray's header from a fair way out. Wasn't too far off the target.
Here's the goal again. There you see that left boot. Certainly no handball there. It's a brilliant first touch, and what he does, he takes it early before Doucouré can get there, and before Gomez.
A flamboyant goal from Raúl Jiménez, who takes a heavy fall here.
Link careering into the challenge with Jiménez.
Free kick has been given to Watford.
Well, the longer the game has gone on, the more possession Watford have had, but the more that Wolves look a threat on the counter.
What an acquisition he has been. It's a very different lifestyle living in Wolverhampton to his adulation in other countries that he's played in. And if he doesn't want to be recognised, he can always put the mask on. Yeah. He might be more recognisable than that. Wolves try to break again. Capoue. Doherty heads it down. Jimenez is off. Wolves are off again. Doherty to his right. Two goal scorers combined. In comes Jota. Knocked away by Capoue's labouring a bit. Now Dendoncker. Doherty. "20 minutes to go, unless Watford can come up with one of the great semi-final comebacks."
At the moment, it doesn't look particularly likely. Just looking at the body language of some of the Watford players. Body language of the manager, that's how he usually stands, mind you. You saw that firsthand when you were assistant manager Woking in the very first round, the third round.
I was about 3 yards from him throughout the 90 minutes, and he hardly blinked even when they scored. And it was a pleasure, once in a lifetime experience for me, I'm sure, but did give a flavour of what Watford were about. They conducted themselves very well on the day, off the field as well as on it, I must say. Forged a bit of a link between the two clubs. Here is Deulofeu. He didn't play in that one.
Good defending, Bully, saw the danger, tried to usher it out, came away with it. Another foul from a Watford player on Jota.
Well, they take nothing for granted. Especially the older fans, have seen some very harrowing and harsh times, Wolverhampton Wanderers. But he is leading the revival.
I was at a game, a semi-final game where Wolves played against Spurs in 1981. The replay was in those days at Highbury.
Yep.
There was 50,000 Tottenham supporters there, only 5,000 Wolves. It seemed an injustice that the game was being played at Highbury.
I think Tottenham win 3-0, something like that, to go to the final. Running into traffic. Correa gets it back, finds a bit of space. Deulofeu. Get it in, it's awkward for Doherty and for Ruddy, who takes charge pretty calmly too.
But actually, so that's good defending from Doherty. By heading the ball up in the air, it gave the goalkeeper a chance to come out and deal with it. He's trying to get into the box to Correa as much as possible.
He scored in the last 2 league games for Watford.
Brilliant one against Manchester United.
It's their joint second high scorer to Deeney, along with Gray. And they're all on the pitch now, with Deulofeu as well. But here is Diogo Jota, who will run and run. And it took some stopping by Mariappa. He's not explosively quick, but he is definitely persistent.
Mariappa just about got there. Manir wasn't going to get back at him. He has a little look, he's looking up 2 or 3 times, he knows where the space is. Mariappa shows good strength as well, just holding off the challenge of Jota.
He gets Wolves up the pitch, and the more they can play in the attacking third in the just over 15 minutes to go.
You talked about their defensive record and being well organised. Part of that is because the front two are so good on the counter-attack, so they can keep their shape in midfield, they can keep their back three together.
And here is Jimenez. Oh, and Doherty's in. I was going to say for another one, but his first touch took that opportunity away.
What a pass it was to him. His first touch let him down.
Good work from Holibas for Watford. They need some inspiration here. They've had a lot of perspiration, but it's led to nothing against their name on the scoreline. Deeney's in there, and while there's Deeney, there's always a chance of Doucouré coming round the back. Going for it again. Here's Deulofeu inside the penalty area where they've got to be careful not to touch him. Wolves clear, only momentarily. Back with Holibas. Sustained pressure here from Watford. There was a ball on, a deeper ball to Troy Deeney that time, but look at Jota. He's a one-man army. Lieutenant Jimenez is there for the general of the counter-attack. The game very spread at the moment. Which might just suit Watford to find a gap or two, but they need a goal and 2. Well then, by Holibas. Doucouré just took a fraction of a second too long. A touch from Capoue. Deulofeu with a bit of wriggle room. Comes out to Holibas, hard and low and very dangerous and very well defended. Jimenez can't hold it up, he's annoyed with himself. Watford giving it everything at the moment, as they absolutely have to.
A couple of really good crosses from Holibas on this near side. Deulofeu's come out here now, but that looks to be the threat. Balls into the box from wide areas. Not sure they're going to play through Wolves. They're going to have to go round them and get crosses in.
Deulofeu, as you say, recognising that from the left. Wants it back again. Half-hearted Watford shouts. Thing about Troy Deeney, he will not give it up. He lives and breathes Watford Football Club.
He's got a fairly long throw, Holibas.
But it comes into that category fairly long. Maybe the needs will get extra strength into those biceps. And certainly, Deeney half getting it. Deulofeu, brilliant! That's the inspiration that they needed, and Watford aren't out of it yet. Quite an impact from the substitute, who was left out of the starting lineup, quite controversially. But a brilliant semi-final goal. Watford 1, Wolves 2.
And nothing he could do about it. Ruddy, the long throw comes in. He's got a lot of time on the ball here. He has a little look, they don't get tight enough, and he just bends it round the first player, Dendoncker, and into that far corner. Dendoncker has to get a lot tighter. What a finish. And what an end to the game we're going to have now.
Deliberate, deft, delightful. Deulofeu. That's about as passionate as he gets, Javi Gracia. But if they get an equaliser, that might be an understatement. Here's Deulofeu. Has he got a corner out of it? No.
But you have to admire the way Watford have come back into it.
A great spell of pressure, wasn't it?
Really good spell of pressure. Getting the ball out wide, crosses into the box, players getting into the box, getting it into Troy Deeney's feet so the players can run off of him. They've taken 1 or 2 gambles at the back. He's made a difference, Deulofeu, with that goal.
Wolves see it through. Holibas, whose long throw did set up the chance, not directly, but the second ball. It's Holibas's cross for Deeney to attack. Here's Pereira's done very well to last this long. Press again in another corner.
Well, they start to believe now, don't they? Those Watford fans were looking down and out a little while ago. Wolves want to make another substitution. They wanted to get another big player on to take off one of their central midfield players.
Craig Cathcart scored at this end of the stadium in the game here against Tottenham in January in the Premier League. That was, in the end, though, a 2-1 defeat. They're losing 2-1 at Wembley again, but there's still time this time. Now, wicked corner. I think it'll be another one. Will bend on it from Holibas. Another in-swinger from a right footer this time, Deulofeu. Is it going to be his day? A turn the tide, which is certainly flowing away from Watford. By Jota, but not very far. Deulofeu again. When he's good, he's very good. Here goes Capoue. Deeney in the middle. Gray's there. Doucouré on the move. Here he is. One for Deeney to fight for. And he gets a touch. Holebas. Blocked by Saiss. Ryan Bennett still waiting to come on.
You don't usually make a substitution when you're defending a set play, and that's what Wolves are thinking at the moment.
There's going to be an outswinger from Holebas this time. It's not deep enough. Jimenez heads away. Holebas is there again. Played in the cup finals in Greece. Here's Pereira. Watford reach the cup final at Wembley next month. Still got a fair bit to do. Deulofeu again. Jimenez scrapes it from him. Deulofeu thought he was fouled. But Watford penning Wolves in at the moment. Height of Dendoncker useful in those situations. Trying to play their way forward. Jimenez giving them a bit of width. Doherty. Jimenez was going for it inside, but Doherty can go on himself. Matt Doherty again. And it was a vital touch from Feminina. Comes out to João Moutinho. Doherty still in the centre. Jota couldn't get it across to him.
Could he have swung his left boot at it, yeah. Doherty, once he'd come inside. Really good play to start with from him, along with Jimenez.
You do feel the way to see it out for Wolves here is to play it with a little bit more attacking emphasis, but obviously and understandably they're dropping in and almost saying, well, what is it? 6 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Come and get another one if you can, but they might just do that. Watford. And that's a free kick. The tempo of the game has not dropped. If anything, it's increased in the second half.
Certainly has. Here comes that substitution.
Really. They've changed their plans. It's certainly Ruben Neves who was going off. There's Ryan Bennett, who is going to come on. That was the move you were talking about, a defender for a midfield player. But it's going to be a double switch as well, because there's Bennett anyway, the former Norwich player. And Ivan Cavallero is getting ready too, but he's not on yet.
Saiss has gone into a holding midfield role.
Bennett has been the first choice right side of the back three for most of the season, but he had a suspension. Saiss came in and did well. Saiss has been more involved in the early months of the season in the role that he's now occupying. Here's Dendoncker. Moutinho caught in possession. That going to be costly? It might be. Deeney couldn't get it back. But the ball stays in play. Feminina's cross. And Ruddy to the rescue again.
Good goalkeeping, Ruddy. Came and made it his. It was a decent ball played into the box. It wasn't the perfect catch, but he palmed it into a good position for himself. Certainly been a brilliant last 20 minutes to the game. Since Wolves went 2-0 up, really.
Well, Watford had that spell, and you wonder, well, if you don't score when you have a spell like that, then really it does go to waste. But they did score. Put a fight back on the agenda. Still on that agenda. Wolves are worried that they're leading at Wembley. Deulofeu. And again, comes out Holibas. Oh, from Watford's point of view, it wasn't what was required.
Good play, Deulofeu down that right-hand side. Clever little 1-2 with Pereira. Wasn't a bad ball played in. And he sets himself, but gets it all wrong, Holibas. Big chance.
Even with his substitutions, you know, Espirito Santo rarely goes out outside a group of 14 to 15 players. Cavallero, who has also contributed to this FA Cup charge to the semi-final. Scored the winner at Bristol City, scored the crucial goal too against Shrewsbury in the replay. Jota's been superb. Now replaced. Cathcart. Capu. Measure one. For Deeney to flick on. Doucouré's there. So too is Pereira, who's done very well to still be playing with that hip problem. And Holibas gets past Doherty. Watford could be in here. And still could be in here. Gray. Capu. And it's a free kick. No, it's not a free kick. It's a throw. Thought Bolly was expecting to get the chance to clear his lines there from a dead ball, but that's not the case, and the drama continues into the 90th minute in the second semi-final. Maybe we'll go beyond into extra time if Watford can. Ooh, that will be a foul this time. Deeney and Dendoncker. Not too impressed with Dendoncker's reaction, but I think he was responsible for it.
Yeah, Deeney knows he's going to try and win the ball, but he's not actually trying to foul Dendoncker, he's trying to block it. Dendoncker does really well by lifting the ball over his foot.
Well, the board is up and it's got a number 4 on it. I do think it's been one of the great, relatively recent inventions, Stuart, to let everybody know how long there is, rather than just leaving it to what the referee kept to himself. Here's Deulofeu. Pulled it up in the air, no more than that by Holibas, and there is more than that because it dropped for Doucouré. Again, the two strikers in the centre.
We need more than the two strikers in the centre. Doucouré's out in the wider. He's got to be making runs into the box.
First time by Capu. Deeney trying to get to it, maybe the clearer path for those coming in from behind. He's been penalised, and the first minute of added time has passed.
He probably might claim he was shoved slightly. That's what knocked him into Dendoncker. But they've really had a go, haven't they, the last 20-25 minutes, Watford. They've got lots of crosses into the box. They've got the ball into the top third of the field time and time again. But at the moment, it's the Wolves supporters that are happier.
Well, I think the world expected between these two clubs a very competitive FA Cup semi-final, and that's what we've got. Here is Deulofeu. Deeney jogs into the penalty area again. Deulofeu. And again. Deulofeu. Deeney. Oh, down he goes. Michael Oliver said penalty. A penalty in the 92nd minute for Watford. It will be reviewed, but it looked a pretty good shout to me.
Well, he was always going to get across the front of Dendoncker here. That's all he was looking for. It's a good first touch. I'm not sure Dendoncker actually sticks a leg out. Let's have another look. Yes, he does, and he catches Troy Deeney. I'm sure that's going to be a penalty. It's been awarded. I'm not sure VAR will change that.
They are checking. Michael Oliver awaits the verdict. Conor Cody throws his two-penneth in, but it won't count for anything. The crowd really holds its breath.
He was in a great position as well, the referee, Michael Oliver.
It's got to be a clear and obvious error, hasn't it? And Dendoncker was the defensive player.
He certainly thought about it. He had a look, he took his time and then pointed to the spot.
Penalty it is. And what a moment for a man who's been through so much as a Watford player. It all rests on those square shoulders of Troy Deeney. Watford's captain, fantastic. John Ruddy can make himself a Wolves legend here. Deeney is the recognised penalty taker. He usually goes for power. Such drama in the second semi-final. This goes in and we go to extra time. And in it goes! Deeney delivers in one of the big moments of a great Watford career. And you can see what it means. It's D-Day for the club just up the road. Deulofeu, then Deeney, and that 2-0 Wolves lead has gone up in a puff of smoke.
Well, you said he was going to hit it with power. He certainly did that. Goes over the top of Ruddy. Ruddy chooses the right way, but he hits it powerfully enough and high enough. Oh, he just can't get his left arm up quickly enough. And Ruddy. And we're probably going to extra time. But what a comeback we've seen from Watford.
Fantastic fighting spirit. And he caused the penalty and converted the penalty.
He knew as soon as he was running across Dendoncker that Dendoncker didn't know he was coming. He was going to go for the ball. If he could get there first, there was always going to be that chance.
Well, we talked, Stuart, about Watford forcing the pressure, maybe Wolves inviting a bit of pressure.
And remember, they haven't got Jota on the field now.
They have Doherty, Cavallero. It is extra time, a superb semi-final between two of the country's most improved teams this season. But what an improvement for Watford in the closing stages here. And Deeney thrashed home the penalty. Doherty scored in the first half. Jimenez in the second half. It seemed to be enough for Wolves. But then Deulofeu came on and made a difference. And then it was all down to that added time penalty. And it's 2-2 after 90 minutes. I'm delighted to say, on we go. We're ready to go with extra time, which does bring one other factor into play. A fourth substitute can be used. It's a relatively new regulation, and it was first brought into play in an FA Cup semi-final. Kelechi Iheanacho came on for Manchester City a couple of years ago against Arsenal. Well, Watford with, I guess, a very popular football word at the moment, Stuart, momentum.
Certainly they got their tactics right in the last part of that game. I'm not sure Wolves did. They started to sit deep, they allowed space out wide, they weren't worried about crosses coming in, they thought they would defend them when they came into the box. But eventually the pressure told. Wolves have got to pick themselves up again. Talk about that full substitution that either side can make. What you can't do is bring back a player that you've taken off, and I'm sure they'd love to bring Jota back on.
They've still got Jimenez. Deulofeu. From the Wolves' perspective, Conor Cody, the captain, and Espirito Santo, the manager, have just had to, surely in that conversation between in the regulation time instead of extra time, to clear their heads and just start again, try and win this extra period and get to the FA Cup final in doing so. 2-2. Wolves were 2-0 up. Pereira. I say using a fourth sub. We haven't got down to the third ones yet. There's plenty of scope for change. Maybe wondering what might have been so close. Caballero is one of the changes. The other flicked by Jimenez. There's a chance actually to catch Watford a bit back on their heels then. But here's the quick running of Deulofeu, supported by Deulofeu, whose athleticism may well count in the demands of the extra period. Matched by Volley.
More than matched by Volley on that occasion.
Yeah.
Really good defending. Then he broke forward, picked out a pass. That shows a bit of composure on the ball.
And finds Johnny. Here's Caballero. It's goalkeeper's ball. Deeney. Breaks for Caballero again. It's a clever pass, and Watford caught a bit lacking, and when Doherty breaks forward, it's caused a lot of problems. Caballero. Jimenez. And here's Johnny. First chance of the added period. He went for power, but Gomez was equal to it.
Good ball played by Jimenez. Just slices across it. Just gets the fingertips on it. There's Gomez. Well, they have been threatening from set plays. This time they're lining up together on the edge of the box. Now they're slightly changed.
Trying to get someone in free with a block in there. The goalkeeper comes and does very well. At the moment, I think Deulofeu thought he could get there, but he's been outmanoeuvred by Johnny. Caballero, João Moutinho. Caballero can let fly with his right foot. He's capable of doing that, but in the end he decided to involve Doherty. And Caballero's come onto it. It's just blocked. And the collision was a painful one for Holebas.
I think he's actually pulled his hamstring. I think that's what he's trying to say to the players around him. Caballero, first bit of impact he's had on the game. He's going to try and drag the ball back across Holebas. Holebas read it and just pulled up there. There you can see it holding the back of his right leg. That will probably be the end of the Greek international.
Well, he's got Adam Messina is a left back, but a relatively inexperienced one. But there he is. He played left back at the start of the FA Cup run in the game at Woking. Now just checking whether it's cramp or a hamstring, I guess.
Yeah, I think whatever it is, you need to get him off fairly quickly. Well, he's got to be pleased with his team's reaction. And the Grazia down and out, got themselves back into it. The substitution made a difference. Deulofeu all sat that much deeper. They allowed space out wide. They were able to get easy crosses in. This man delivered a lot of good crosses into the box. Olivas, he missed a golden opportunity with his left foot with a strike.
Of course,
he's had a decent game.
The long throw as well. And, he hasn't given up on it yet.
I think he's just saying to the bench, hang on for a minute. Well, I'm not sure you can hang on for a minute.
He's going to give it a go. He's a tough character. He's an instant career. When he was young, a very promising footballer, he gave it up because he wasn't earning enough money to support his family, and he went and worked in a supermarket. Found that he got enough ability to make a lucrative professional career. So he's worked very hard for everything that he's got, and he's not going to give up on a FA Cup semi-final. He was left out, actually, in 2016. He was a Watford player then. He'd fallen out with the then manager, Quique Sanchez-Flores.
I'll be very surprised if he does last much longer. He's just had a little chat. He's limping forward. He's gone down.
That's always the sign, isn't it? Go down and we can make the change. But here's somebody with power and pace, Adama Traore, getting ready for Wolves. There's no way Olivas would want to be facing him in that condition.
He may have just looked across at the dugout and seen that
he's coming on, coming off.
Yep.
Is a straight swap. That's why managers will always say, I want two good players for each position. And Senior is the junior left back, but he's got a senior role here now. Watford's ball.
I think it's been disappointing from Watford in this first 8 minutes of added or extra time. They were, as you said, had all the momentum going their way. They were getting crosses in, they were attacking, they were playing the game in Wolves' half. That hasn't been the case since we've had the start of extra time.
It's the psychology as much as the physiology, isn't it? Because you're chasing, you've got there to where you are. Now you're back at it again. If you let in another one, slightly softer approach from Javi Gracia's men. Been a few previous FA Cup semi-finals that have been decided by penalties, but we're not there yet. Bennett heads away. Doucouré. Bennett clears. Gomez has to scurry a little bit, slightly under hit by Cathcart. Coutinho. Caballero giving chase. Situation well dealt with by Craig Cathcart. He looks the fittest player on the pitch, Doucouré. He's trying to keep that tempo up for Watford.
On one occasion, Deeney, rather than cross the ball into the box where he had 2 or 3 players making runs, he tried to switch the play. That being the last minutes of normal time, he'd have crossed the ball into the box and put Wolves under a bit of pressure.
Deulofeu. Femenia. It is Deulofeu who's in there. Deulofeu cushions it. Play a little give and go. And Wolves starting to go. There's a yellow card, Etienne Capoue, stopping that potential counter-attack.
Deulofeu giving the ball away here. Deeney can't get hold of it. Donker knocks it past Capoue.
Another change. João Moutinho it is who goes off for Adama Traoré, who is a threat, but at times looks more of a player of promise than a player of actual achievement. This would be a good time to get some end product to his work. Given away by a weary Pereira. Johnny. Now Caballero. Is there going to be a fifth goal in this FA Cup semi-final? Traoré, his first involvement.
Not sure who he was crossing that to. That was anywhere will do. The first defender. Saw a lot of him as a Barcelona youth player. He would tear past opponents, get crosses in when he was 16, 17. Hasn't quite fulfilled his potential.
Traoré is crowded out there. He's been in English football for a little while now. Aston Villa and Middlesbrough. Now Wolves. Towards the end of the first period of extra time.
I think he's just saying to the front players, we're not going to play as a front two. Mayonnaise will go higher. Caballero just playing in the role slightly behind him.
Yes. It was 1-off-1. It wasn't a case of getting the score wrong. But, maybe Watford's best opportunity in this first period of extra time. Deulofeu, it's more than an opportunity. From 2-0 down, they lead 3-2. He's got 2 of the 3. It's incredible. The Hornets have really come out stinging.
Well, we talked about the counter-attacking ability of Jota. That's Deulofeu at his very best. Great pace. Didn't look as though he was going to get onto the end of that. But he did, and he got his touch past the defender and then passed it into the corner. What a finish that was from Deulofeu. Here's the build-up play. Gray passes it to Deulofeu. Best bit of play from Gray. Another good pass. Cody can't get there, and nor can Ruddy. What pace and what composure at the end of it.
This Deulofeu, the touch that takes it past Cody, is vital because it gives him the chance to stick it away.
And I think Ruddy's caught by surprise how quickly he took it.
Well, you won't see Javi Gracia going down the touchline sliding on his knees, but for him that's a very extrovert moment. Well, what have Wolves got in the tank now? 3-2 Watford. Traoré is away. Often periods of extra time can be tight and tense, but when they're not, they can be full of goals. And he needs at least one to take it to a shootout.
throw from Bennett. Volley is up.
Gomez has taken quite an advanced position, actually, just out of your picture. He wants to go and get it. He's not leaving it, but he doesn't go for it. Volley does. It's only half away. But Watford could be away. Deulofeu. Here's Gray. Doucouré's in the middle. Deulofeu, who's on a hat-trick as a substitute in an FA Cup semi-final. And he's done it beautifully here for Femenia.
And he's proved a point, hasn't he, Deulofeu? You should have started with me. What a kick that is from Runny.
There's still time before half-time, in extra time, for Jimenez. Corner.
Brilliant defending, Mariappa. You can see what that means to him. 1v1. Jimenez running into the box. If he gets it wrong, it's a penalty. He didn't get it wrong. Brilliant tackle.
What a game. Wembley rocking. Watford were rocking. Out comes Gomez. A catch of real authority, and that should take Watford to half-time. The veteran Brazilian, very, very popular figure, and he's hung on for long enough. Can Watford now hang on to the lead that they've got in this first period of extra time through this enigmatic player? When he's good, you're watching what he's like when he's good. He's superb. But there are enough days when that doesn't happen, when he hardly contributes. That's the lows, but today the highs of Gerald Deulofeu.
That touch you talked about to take him beyond Connor Cody. And it bought him enough time just to show that composure with the finish.
That is class. And that might just be a message to the manager. He'll probably say, would you have done that if you'd started the game? To which the answer is, we'd have won 2-0, boss. But that's football. It's the magic of management, the selection, getting it right. Nuno Espirito Santo hardly ever changed his team. We had no doubts really in our minds, Stuart, when we arrived here today, how he would set up, how they would play. Now they've got to find a recipe for recovery that has already been found in the other conversation going on to his right, our left.
There's the player that went off, Olivas. The two tired players. Pereira's done well to stay on the field as long as he has. He was a doubt for the game. Now what Watford mustn't do is now sit back, as Wolves did at the end of normal time.
Deeney got the other goal, of course, that dramatic penalty. We have a change on the left-hand side. Vinagre, who is a left wing-back, where he's come on.
Straight swap. Johnny's gone off.
Well, you're watching one of the FA Cup semi-finals that the new Wembley has staged. Manchester City, it was only 1-0 yesterday, and the goal after the 4 minutes, but there was never too much doubt that they would have too much for Brighton and Hove Albion. But this has ebbed and flowed. Wolves have got to turn the tide in their direction. Traoré is fouled.
Now Now it's their turn to get the ball into the box as often as possible. All the big players they've got on the pitch at the moment are going to go into the box. They're not going to quite drop off that deep, Watford, on this occasion.
But I've got Jimenez in that half offside position again, so try and distract. Traore, he's got 3 to try and stop him. Might have bounced back off Adama Traore, I don't know. Given us a corner anyway.
There's those big players. Bolly, the main target. Bennett now in there. Jimenez, player that scored the goal. Doherty.
Over Jimenez, throwing himself. Trying to break out, and they might be able to do that here. Deulofeu. Gray with him. Andre Gray, the lad from Wolverhampton, trying to spoil the occasion for all his friends and family from that part of the world. The flag is up for offside. They're going to make another change. Watford, Daryl Janmaat. Who has played in a World Cup semi-final, so an FA Cup semi-final should hold no terrors for him. Right back, Kiko Femenia, who was an integral part of the attacking side when Watford were really struggling to get any attacking play going. He was the outlet. He's covered a lot of ground, had a lot of touches. So the Dutch international comes on.
Never think it's easy for a defender to come on at this stage of the game when you're winning the game and you've got to make sure the scoreline stays the same. It's going to be up against Valero at times.
Deeney, Gray going for it. Lovely take by Jimenez. He was brought down.
1 or 2 players like Capoue have got to be careful.
They're on a yellow card.
Yeah. Like Oliver given the benefit of the doubt on that occasion.
Traore. Take them on. Stopped by the gallant Pereira. Cleared by Messina. Deeney did well. Gray, give it to Deulofeu, should be the message. Doucouré, who can get it back. Such a sapping occasion in FA Cup semi-final, emotionally, and then physically if you have to go to extra time on a big pitch. Oh, and Gomez was in a bit of a hurry to get that second touch. He thought he might have presented it to Jimenez, but here's Doherty. Now Dendoncker, who gave away the penalty. Saiz. Vinagre. Corner for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Deulofeu wants some treatment, he's gone down. So wearing tracksuit bottoms.
They have got one more substitution left, the 4th one permitted in extra time.
Just twisted his ankle there as he went to make the challenge. The right ankle. There it is. The referee saying we're playing on.
But not playing on until he blows the whistle. He suspects that there's a bit of play acting going on. Corner for Wolves, 3-2 down, having been 2-0 up at Wembley. goal kick. That was one moment where Gomez looked as though he was going to be slightly late on parade.
They come together at exactly the same time. I think actually Gomez punches it onto the head of Jimenez. This is a problem. One or two of the Watford players are questioning the attitude of Deulofeu as well. Come on, we've only got to hang out for a few more minutes. But watch his right foot go to ground here, just twists it there. That's the problem he's got.
That's a big call from the medical men.
One or two of his own teammates are telling him to get on with it. Come on. We need you.
But they're not going to keep him, because the man who's made the major impact coming on as a substitute now has to be substituted. Ken Sema, the international from Sweden. He's a player of athletic ability, but not the individual talent that Deulofeu has. Few do have that, to be honest. Player who came to Everton, of course, Roberto Martinez, one of his great champions. Went back to Barcelona, then came to Watford on loan, then was signed permanently.
Had a little spell at AC Milan as well.
Bowling. Vinagre. That's the sort of thing that Sema will do.
He's going to play on the right-hand side. He's going to show that bit of discipline.
Yeah, he's a left-sided player technically, but he likes to play on the opposite flank. And Watford have won it back here. Another one, and that will be curtains for Wolves. Doesn't materialise. 7 minutes plus added time to go. Doherty, Traore. Now Saiz in midfield. Traore. Jimenez wants a deep ball. Traore, I don't think it's seen him. He's got to the byline. He did very well to achieve that. He fired the cross in, but great hands by Gomez in the end. They're fearing the worst.
That's where he just lets himself down. Down to Traore. Great pace and ability to go past people, and the final pass isn't a good one.
Football has this extraordinary capacity to reach the extremes of emotions. Despair can turn to delight in a moment, and that's what Wolves are looking for here. Willy Bowley has chipped in with a few goals this season. Makes his way forward. Not easy to miss, but he is difficult to mark. And it's over him. Watford get it away. Janmaat looks long. And all what he could do is just come out and boot it forward. But he had to boot it into play, take the risk. Sema. There are some exhausted players out there. I have to say, it's been exhausting watching it.
What a semi-final it's been. Wolves looked as though they were home and dry. Watford, despite their pressure, weren't really creating too many chances. No creativity or guile in and around the box. But how it's all changed.
Seconds away, Wolves, when the whistle went for the penalty. Deeney doing all he could to help run down the clock. absolutely shattered, physically and pretty much emotionally as well. The look in his eyes when he hammered in the penalty to take it to extra time. Is there going to be another twist, a sting in the tail? Vinagre needs to get it into the box, and he does so. Jimenez, and just blocked off cleverly by Etienne Capoue to allow Gomez to come out and take it.
Vinagre did really well down the left-hand side to get that cross in, but it was a tired Jimenez, unsurprisingly. He's worked so hard as the front player. He's touched on that occasion, just lets him down, because it was good movement from him again. Pulled off the back of the centre-half, got back across him.
Traoré. One for Doherty, who's covered so much ground up and down the right-hand side. A Wembley goal to his name. At the moment, looks like a Wembley defeat to his name as well, but here's Traoré, and I'm afraid that rather sums up what we were saying about him. He gets into such good positions. This is something that stops him being, well, a truly top-class player. But he's got the power, he's got the pace. It's just the decision-making, which is a very difficult part to coach.
Well, when he was a young player, everybody thought at some point he'll get better in that final pass. He might still,
yeah.
But it hasn't come to the fore just yet. That's why he's always coming off the bench rather than starting games. Use him as an impact player. Needs an impact now.
Well, Cavaleiro has made some impacts this season. Jimenez and Cavaleiro round Gomez. Oh, Watford survive by the skin of their teeth. How frustrating is that for Nuno?
Could he have struck it here? No, he kind of gets it stuck under his feet. He does well to make the run. He does well to go past Gomez. Frustration.
They've still got the corner to come. And Watford just switched off a little bit. In by Vinagre, and the goalkeeper knocks it away. Back by Cody. Oh, there's a counter-attack on here. If Doucouré had played it, Gray would have been away. Vinagre. And now Gray can be away. It's played to Deeney. What are Watford going to do here? Look for the goal or head for the corner? Oh. And Deeney looks away in real disappointment, because it was neither one thing or the other.
Well, looked very tired. He was racing after that ball. Trudging after that ball, I would say.
So there's still hope for Wolves. Mariappa meets it.
Well, that's exactly where Watford want the ball. Throwing down that far side. I'm sure they'll try and throw it into the corner. Yeah, Matt, walking forward to take it.
There are going to be 2 added minutes.
He did show a great deal of nerve, didn't he, to stick that penalty away, Troy Deeney. He said he was going to hit it with power, usually hits it with power, and that's exactly what he did.
It's almost added power. It had the power to take it to extra time. It's been Watford's extra time, but it's not over yet. 2 minutes recognised. Sema can't keep it. Boli. Sema gets after it. Stayed in play. That would be a free kick to Wolves. Saiss fouled.
Got a minute and a half to get themselves back into this FA Cup tie, to take it to penalties.
Gomez saying, don't drop too deep. Cody puts everything he's got behind it. And Watford win the header with Messina. Gray is ahead of Pereira, whose performance has been remarkable because he was barely fit to start, and here he is. That's offside. And there was another opportunity to run down the clock that they didn't take very well. It's very easy for us to say it when you're out there in the heat of the battle. Jimenez. Janmat is there, but it falls for Wolves. And Vinagre, who wastes no time getting in the cross. Oh, it's behind Doherty. Going to be kept in, is it? Yes, by Dendoncker. Last chance for Wolves. Cavallero. It's still a chance for Wolves. Vinagre. Oh, it's a poor ball. And Gray should secure it. And Watford should secure the place in the final. Gray saying chase that to Doucouré, one of the few players still in the game who can do that. 15 seconds. And Jimenez could chase a back pass. Gomez slaps it forward. Deeney gets a touch. It's over. Watford have got their place in the FA Cup final with one of the great comebacks in a semi-final. A truly wonderful occasion at Wembley between the two W's. And Wolves were leading 2-0 and seemed to have it in the bag. But Watford pulled it out of the fire somehow. Deulofeu on as a substitute. Scored twice, had to go off in between. Deeney hammered home the moment of the match, really, the penalty. They were 2-1 down in added time, in regulation time. He won the penalty, converted the penalty, and Deulofeu in extra time won the semi-final.